Here in this video, we will be doing Class 11 Statistics Chapter 3 Organization of Data, the exercises or the question solving part. Here the first question is, which of the following is true? The class midpoint is equal to the average of the upper limit and the lower limit of the class, the product of the upper class limit and the lower class limit, the ratio of the upper class limit and the lower class limit, or none. So we will have to understand what is class midpoint. So class midpoint is the mid value of the upper class limit and the lower class limit. And how do we get this? So from this example given in table 3.1, it is seen that the class midpoint is obtained by taking the addition of the upper class limit and the lower class limit and then dividing it by 2. So here option A is the correct option. So class midpoint is equal to the average of the upper limit and the lower limit of the class. The next question for question number 1 is, the frequency distribution of two variables is known as. The options are univariate distribution, bivariate distribution, multivariate distribution, or none. So here we will have to understand what is frequency distribution. Frequency distribution refers to the number of times an observation occurs. So frequency distribution for one variable is known as univariate distribution. Frequency distribution for multiple variable is known as multivariate distribution, and frequency distribution for two variable is known as bivariate distribution. So here accordingly we find that option B is the correct option, which is bivariate distribution. The next question for question number 1, which of the following is true, is statistical calculations in classified data are based on. The options are the actual observations, the upper class limit, the lower class limit, or the class midpoint. So here we will have to understand it now. The statistical calculations depends on the class mark or the class midpoint of the classified data. In the classified or the group data, the correct individual observations are not available. So it is assumed that the values are concentrated around the class midpoint. So class midpoint, we know that it is the average of the upper class limit and the lower class limit. And so option D is the correct answer, which is the class midpoint. Now we come to the next question, which is range. So range is what? The options are the difference between the largest and the smallest observations, difference between the smallest and the largest observations, average of the largest and the smallest value, ratio of the largest and the smallest value. So what is range? We know that range in statistics is the measure of the spread of the data. So it is the difference between the largest and the smallest value. So we can take an example like here, if the observations are 20, 33, 11, 9, 34, 78, 50. So what is the range here? The highest value is 78 and the lowest value is 9. So the difference between 78 and 9 will give the range. So here option A is correct, which is the difference between the largest and the smallest observations. Now we come to the next question, which is, can there be any advantage in classifying things? Explain with examples from daily lives. So here for this, the answer we will have to write down what do we understand by classification of things. So classifications of things or data, mostly in statistics, is the ordering or grouping of data or things to meet purposes. So there are various advantages of classifications of things. What are they? Can be simplifying of the complex things to understand and predict, arrange into organized form for better comparisons, more manageable, saves time, saves effort, helps to understand the similarities and dissimilarities of the things grouped based on the requirements. So now we will give two examples. The first example one is student A. He is classifying his books and notebooks as per the subjects in his study table. This, what does it solve? It solves the purpose of picking the books and notebooks easily to study and also pack his school bag in very less time. So classifying the books and notebooks saves time and effort to find. The next example is teacher B classifying the notebooks to check of students of different classes in different roles in a table. So this will enable the understanding and selecting of the notebooks by the teacher very easily to check for the classes as per priority of time and routine. So checking is done on time and very effectively. Now we come to question number 3, which is what is a variable? Distinguish between continuous and discrete variable. So what is a variable? A variable is used to store data or values which can change or vary easily. So now we will get the differences between the discrete and the continuous variable. So discrete variable, they are certain, discrete, measurable, finite values, and they can be countable. And what are continuous? They take any values within a range and has intermediate values. Next one is what? They are discrete variables are mostly whole numbers, while continuous variables, they includes fractions, decimals, as well as whole numbers. Now what is discrete? Discrete is grouped by frequency. Continuous, they require interval. So last one is what? Discrete variable is countable and continuous variable is not countable. Examples can be for discrete variable, they can be number of students, stars in a galaxy. Now example for continuous variable, they can be temperature, weight, height, distances. Now we come to question number 4, which is explain exclusive and inclusive methods used in classifications of data. So for this, the answer will be exclusive and inclusive methods are used for creating of the class intervals in the classifications of data. So what is exclusive method now? In the exclusive method, the upper class limit is excluded. So we don't take the upper class limit, and the lower class limit is included. So examples of class interval for this exclusive method. So we have got it in table 3.3. So class interval are given 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. So from this table 3.3, we can see that 10 belongs to the second class and not in the first class. So this is why it is called exclusive method. Similarly, 20 belongs to the third class and not in the second class. Again, 30 belongs to the fourth class and not in the third class. So there is no overlap between the classes. And what happens here in the exclusive method, it is mostly suitable for continuous data like height, weight, temperature, distances. Now we come to the same question, next part, which is the inclusive method. In the inclusive method, both the upper class limit and the lower class limit are included in the class interval. So we take an example in table 3.4, where the class interval we see it is 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39. So from table 3.4, what we see, it is seen that 9 belongs to the first class, 10 belongs to the second class. So both limits are measurable in the same class. Inclusive methods is suitable for discrete data like the number of students, marks of students. So these are the differences between the inclusive and the exclusive method of classifications of data. Here we come to question number 5, where use the data in table 3.5 that relate to monthly household expenditure in rupees on food of 50 households, and we will have to get this. Obtain the range of monthly household expenditure on food, divide the range into appropriate number of class intervals, and obtain the frequency distributions of expenditure. Find the number of households whose monthly expenditure on food is less than rupees 2000, more than rupees 3000, between rupees 1500 and rupees 2500. So for this, first we will have to see here in table 3.5 the monthly expenditure, and from this we will have to tabulate the frequency table. Now, in order to calculate the frequency table, we will have to divide the monthly household expenditure accordingly and produce the frequency. So we will have to frame the class interval and the frequency accordingly. So from this table 3.5, we will see that the divisions we make is proper or not. So the class interval, we see that the class interval, because we know that lowest class is what, 1007 here. So we can start from 1000, and the upper class limit will be 1500, lower class limit 1000. Again, next one will be what? 1500 to 2000, then 2000 to 2500, 2500 to 3000, 3000 to 3500, 3500 to 4000, 4000 to 4500, 4500 to 5000, and last one is 5000 to 5500, because here we find the highest value is what? 5090. So we calculate the frequency. How? See, we will find out how many of the, like here, the household expenditure, how many of them are between, first one is what? 1000 to 1500. So how many values are here which are between 1000 and 1500? So here see that all the tick values, all the pink ticked values, they are all between 1000 and 1500. So we find that there are 20 number of values. So here the frequency for this class interval will be 1500 to 1000 to 1500 will be 20. Next one is what? 1500 to 2000. Here also we will find the values which is between these 1500 to 2000, and we find this in the pink colored values, which is 13. Again, next one we will do what? 2000 to 2500. So we find yellow colored values, which is 6. Again we find 2500 to 3000, which are the gray colored values, which is 5. Then 3000 to 3500, we find the sky blue color value, which are 2. Next one is what? 3500 to 4000, which is light green color, and here it is only one value, which is 3676. The next one is what? 4000 to 4500. Here also we find light pink color, which is 2. Only two values are there, 4439, and another value is what we have, which is 4248. The next one is what? 4500 to 5000. So we have no values here. The last one is what? 5000 to 5500, orange colored value, which is 5090, and it has only one value. So the total frequency is what? 50. We calculate, we add up all these frequencies, and we find the total frequency is what? 50. Now we will have to answer the questions for the given values and the frequency. So first question is what? Obtain the range of monthly household expenditure on food. So the first answer will be what? We know that range is difference between the highest value and the lowest value. So 5090 minus 1007, which is equal to 4083. So this will be the answer. The next question is what? Divide the range into appropriate number of class intervals and obtain the frequency distribution of expenditure. So we have already done in that table, in the prior table, which is in table 3.6. So this answer has already been done in table 3.6. The next question is what? Find the number of households whose monthly expenditure on food is less than rupees 2000. So we will have to find out the values which is less than rupees 2000. So we find here that the frequency is 20 and 13. So these are the values where the number of households whose monthly expenditure on food is less than rupees 2000. So we add up 20 plus 13, which is equal to 33. The next question is what? More than 3000. So the number of households whose monthly expenditure on food is more than 3000. So what we'll do, we will add up all the frequencies from 3000 to till 5500. So what we get here? We get frequencies like 02 plus 01 plus 02 plus 00 plus 01, which total we get what? 06. So this will be 06. Now last question is what? Between rupees 1500 and rupees 2500. So here we find between 1500 and 2500 rupees, what is it? It is what? 13 and 6. So we add up 13 plus 6, which is equal to 19.